Hey Yuri,
Hey Michal, how are you?
good, thanks.
Thanks a lot for joining. I will push meeting notes in a minute, and maybe do you have like a specific topic you want to highlight today, like zone delegation, probably? If you want to
Second.
discuss something around that.
Yeah, basically, give me a sec. I need to set up my environment a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, so regarding zone delegations, um, what is now and what is working is
Mm-hmm.
that I switched into the zone delegations fully,
Mm-hmm.
but there is no finalization yet. It is in the middle of implementation. So
Okay.
the process of finalizing, uh, it's quite large as well, but it's in the middle of implementation. And regarding zone delegation, what we have is that uh, all GUI records, all IPs uh, of particle core DNS instances are within the zone delegation statuses. So once you run the KGB, the
Mm-hmm.
information about statuses is there. And application DNS endpoints takes, grabs this GUI information from the zone delegations. So which means that we don't have the GSLBs, because in our infrastructure, we have a large amount of the clusters and
Mm-hmm.
multiply by number of GSLBs, multiply by GUI calls.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so this is basically what halted this like a single DNS. And it was bottleneck because we are like on the 70-80% uh, of the like capacity of that HDNS server. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, now we, thanks to that, we decreased that a lot. And
So,
zone delegation, they is in their
mm-hmm.
own reconciliation, and
Mm-hmm.
reconciliation is executed GSLB like reconciliation duration. We have an environment variable for that. No.
So it stresses his DNS server less
Yeah,
frequently in this
yeah,
case?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So now, like, I've seen some merged PRs. So, like, this is like a middle state PRs, not
Yeah,
breaking
yeah, yeah,
anything, right?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
like implementation is getting there. Okay. Hey, Dinar, welcome. If you are saying
Hey, how's
something,
it?
we can hear. Hey, hey, hey. All good, all good. Yeah, so, Michal, do you need any help or reviews on some delegation stuff? Or like anything pending?
No, no. I will do quite more PRs in the near future. Uh,
Okay.
at the moment, very soon, I will produce the PR with the IP resolver service and some changes in the zone delegation service. Regarding IP resolver is the service which is talking with the it's like a DIC talking with the DNS server and processing the
Mm-hmm.
retrieve the DNS responses. Basically, I needed to extend it, so now it doesn't retrieve just the message and error. It retrieves some object which contains this message error plus status like not answered and as a record, timeout, etc. So we can better identify what is happening. And yeah, based on that, I needed to change some mocks, etc. So I will produce a PR on that in a moment.
So it sounds like it will be also like a good overall reliability enhancement, right? Is
Uh,
this it?
yeah. I
That's
will
cool.
use that in the, or I had planned to use it in the navigation stuff.
That sounds cool. Thank you. So I think I have an agenda for today. We will not be able to go through all of it. I kind of collected whole thing uh, here. And Farhan and Bradley, they cannot join today as they have a conflicting meetings. But like for blog website follow-up, there is a activity to just push the block in every documentation release, and so it's permanently available. If you fail on that mission, then we will move out to some other platform, as Dinar suggested on last meeting. So let's see how it goes. Would be cool to have it like somewhere here, but if it's not convenient, then we will optimize. So from a issue perspective, we have a switch harder runner. It's Farhan is already tackling it. It's kind of so it's related to this security incident that we had a while ago that was likely not critical for us, but it's about blocking this egress in a GitHub Actions by default. So this way we will be able to avoid the whole class of security issues. When we get there, we might break some pipelines, so I will let you know if we merge it, right? So like it might be confusing for a while because there might be some failures given the inability of GitHub runners to access some stuff. So if you miss some useful host, that's something that might happen. Uh, okay, this is more for Bradley. Doc stuff that is in flight. What I wanted, yes, so we already discussed zone delegations. That is cool. We finalizing this incubation DTR together with Farhan as well. What I wanted to actually discuss with you guys. Yeah, we have a CNCF application progress, which is pretty good. It was stalled for a while given the KubeCon activities, and we have a kind of final step with interview adopters. So it looks very, very promising. What else? So there is one interesting issue uh, on a health thing. I'm not sure if it's added here, but let's go to the website and there is interesting issue opened. Yeah, service health calculation doesn't take multiple services into account. It seems to be valid concern. So it's for the multi-service ingresses scenario, and so apparently there is like confusing behavior when we have multiple services associated with ingress, right? And one of them not healthy, another healthy, and it becomes healthy whenever always returns healthy status when at least one service is up. So the question is, have you hit the similar behavior on your side, guys? Or was it like concern before?
No, we don't have such use cases.
So it's like always single ingress
Yes.
service, one-to-one match. Okay. Yeah, so like I'm not sure what to do with that one because yeah, we are operating now with a pretty straightforward healthiness calculation. Now we might enter something more potentially flexible, advanced. Not sure. So I also have in mind, like in my backlog in my head, to be able to reference arbitrary object, like, for example, like if I want to look at some cross-plane resource in my frequent use case, so some other like external resource is healthy, I want to include it into data into a JSLB decision. So something like that. It looks like community already starting to ask to um, more flexible ways to decide on JSLV health above the standard services, or in this case, it's multiple services per network resources. So yeah, If you have any feedback or you have it, please let me know. That seems to be like a important topic for the next evolution of the project.
Well, the fix, I mean, the implementation should be straightforward, and we need to have an agreement that what's the behavior, right? Because we handle the ingress controller for the application based on the ingress object. If the ingress object basically handles multiple services, if any of them fails, which should basically fail, and that would be basically collecting all the health statuses, right? And if any of them fail, just fail. I don't think there should be any backward compatibilities or something like that. It's clearly a bug, not a feature.
Yeah, my initial perception of it is the same, but what if user wants to make a GSLB decision on only one of the servers, not all of the accumulated status?
It doesn't matter. I mean, then they separate GSLBs
yeah.
with the ingresses. Yeah, because with the global, we are not doing the load balancing based on the path or based on the service. We take the endpoint and basically handle the endpoints. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impossible to make a decision for us.
Yeah, but if like I think like what you suggest is the most obvious step forward, and I like it. But what if so view will be able to split and share this, like, service endpoint slice per ingress if folks need not multiple but a single service decision, right? They always can split. Okay, that seems to be the most elegant solution.
Well, it's basically a separation of concern, right? If you lazy and do one ingress and bunch of the services not connected to each other, and basically any of them can randomly fail, and you're happy with us, well, that's a wrong approach. It should be the concern is the ingress point endpoint is for application, right? And I fully agree that that's the correct use case. It could be backed by the multiple services in the backend. So, but overall, GSLB decision, whether it's healthy or not, is based on should be based on the all services backing that specific ingress.
Right. Cool. I agree. There is also actually some initial implementation by Farhan. I think fixing the similar one. So like I think it's in line what we discussed now. I'll double check the actual implementation. But yeah, cool. Thanks for calibrating this decision. I appreciate it. Yeah, and do you remember like we have also old stuff like I think like a Prometheus-based decision making, something like support reading external metrics to assess service readiness. It's coming from Millennium BCP from Nuna. We never got to that. Question: if you have something like that, like a need for it in APSA, or you're fully fine with endpoint slices effectively?
Well, we'll come to that for sure. There will be a need, but yeah, it would come at least in a 6 months or even more. Maybe 12 months would be more realistic. But yeah, we're moving internally. We are moving towards the Keda thing for the service scalers.
And so, like high level, I mean, I understand that it's probably too early to design it, but what kind of integration would you find most convenient? So here, this suggestion is like more towards some external Prometheus metrics endpoint or something like that. I have in mind something like reading the arbitrary Kubernetes resource status, right, and derive healthiness from it, or maybe accumulated health, right? So like being able to tell to GSLB, like look at that resource, for example, like some KEDA object, right? I'm not super familiar with KEDA API, but so like I'm just making a theory here that we can derive some status from the standard Kubernetes objects that are exposed by autoscalers, right? Instead of reading metrics somewhere externally. So like getting the data and make a health decision out of the arbitrary object. Does it sound reasonable to you? Like for long
No,
term?
yeah,
No?
we would use the Keras Prometheus scaler exactly, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever application team decides to, right? But that would be a Kera, and it's basically will reflect, as you said, it will reflect into a service having a endpoint slices, uh, 1, 5, or whatever, right? And based on the scaling it needs, and sometimes it could be a 0. That means service unhealthy, and yeah, that should be a decision made by us to exclude or to mark such service to be unhealthy.
So you would still rely on original mechanism of endpoint slices even in this case.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Kata actually handles it like
Mm-hmm.
it provides to the end application the abstraction. It still uses the standard objects, standard API group objects, and we should not invest into, in my opinion, we should not invest into using the prompt tool or anything like that.
Yeah, but what if it's not KEDA, right? What if it's not auto-scaling use case, but anything like that is in Kubernetes that can affect JSLV status and giving the user ability to include it into decision making. It's something that can enrich the story, right?
Well, it could be any custom implementation, right?
Yeah.
But the custom implementation again should be up there doing what Kira does. It should be updating the service object based on the service availability or metrics or, I don't know, phase of the moon. It does not matter. The result is always updated service object and their endpoints.
Well, in
So
this case, KEDA is making the heavy lifting, right, of the decision effectively.
yeah, it's like
Mm.
you need to mutate the Kubernetes objects, for example, and you go where? Like there are plenty of options. You could go Kyverno, you could go, I don't know, KubeVerden and stuff like that. But in the end, you have an ability to mutate the object. Here's the same thing. You need to observe or scale the service based on something. And there is a tool, Keda, which does this. If it doesn't fit the company policy, well, there must be another tool, but it should do exactly the same thing. We should not rely on the k8gb will not rely on the Keda scalers object, or we will not read any of that. We will read and ensure that we rely the Keda will do its job and update the service status. That's all we need to do, and that's we can claim that okay, it works for Keda. It might work with anybody else, but what we do is we do heavily rely on the service readiness and the number of endpoints.
Yeah, so in this case, we another controller updates the endpoint, the service endpoint slice effectively, right? And we read it and include it into the decision making. So in this case, we still can rely on the core mechanism. Is that correct understanding? Like
Yeah,
k8gb manages the service
something.
object.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like that we can like still scale with the core mechanism. I have like, currently I'm working on like a reference demo for AI inference for k8gb. And so for example, I need to read some Envoy or Istio gateway thing, right? That is local inference, local scheduling, local balancing with AI stuff, whatever. And the idea is that to provide a global resilience with k8gb and make this AI inference balancing effectively globally available. But in this case, we have a higher level objects, right? So like with this advanced gateway stuff that is taking care of these fancy AI metrics and things and make a proper routing within the cluster. So in this case, like I'm currently on the fence, to integrate k8gb. I don't have an ability to directly read from their statuses, so I'm thinking, should I implement it or not? Or I can effectively use some additional controller, like in my case, the closest one is cross-plane function, whatever, it doesn't matter to the specific implementation, but that would also update the standalone service with endpoint slices according to some healthiness of other objects, right? So like including this inference, and k8gb will still operate with a looking at the core service without any modification. So I'll probably start with that, and then let's see how it goes. That also nicely matches with the scenarios that you described. So like just use the service. But I also see like a long-term kind of limitation, because in this case you will need to maintain the service object and endpoint slice with something outside of k8gb. And depending on the complexity, we might need more like internal mechanism how to populate that things and derive the healthiness status in a more complex scenarios.
Yeah, but then you will have to if you're going to implement the querying metrics on your own, then you will have to handle the errors. You will have to maintain the connectivity to that metrics data store. You will have to ensure that you retrieve the metrics, and should make a decision if the metrics is not available, right? The observability stack is down. That means the service is down.
Oh yeah, totally. That's why I actually tend to avoid the whole Prometheus collection story in general, but read from the local Kubernetes object as a middle ground. At least that's closest idea. Or I stay with a pure service based decision making and just update it by some other means like crossplane. So I definitely we're on the same page of avoiding introducing complexity in a core k8gb reconciliation loop, because currently it's super reliable and beautiful. And like the more moving parts we potentially integrate, the less reliable it can be. So I'm super careful with that direction. So in that case, the less moving parts, the better.
Well, it's it's Unix Ray or whatever they call it nowadays,
Yeah,
single concern
Mm.
principle. Yeah, well, we can consider doing that, but yeah, that route is really steepy and dangerous. Just saying, because there
Yeah.
are not only the Prometheus metrics. I mean, there are other things There is Victoria metrics. They might be Prometheus compatible
Mm.
or not. There are Instana, for example, right? And then are they Prometheus compatible? And then going into implementing something specific, yeah, you're opening up basically a Pandora box with oh, this is not working, this is not, I don't know, or now I need to specify the proxy setting for that observability endpoint, and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, I'm strongly against that, and the Kubernetes ecosystem is strong enough to handle this as a separate manner, and they do it better. I mean, people should rely on external parties and or contribute there, ask there to perform steps they need. And yeah, sometimes we have to say no to people.
Yeah, but in this case, it's not necessary even to say no. We can provide, like, for example, this upcoming Keda kind of reference platform or whatever we name it, right? So like out of the experience and or design where you the ones that you described, where it just updates the service that is watched by k8gb, right? And then it solves the problem, correct? For this specific Keda integration. All right, cool. I really appreciate the discussion. Thank you so much, guys, for joining, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, see you. Bye.
All right, have fun.
See you. Thank you. Bye-bye.